Chapter 1. A good sex life is necessary in any marriage and is indeed worth striving for. Marital intimacy, including sexual intimacy, creates a beautiful connection between two committed people that strengthens a relationship. Every couple deserves warmth, intimacy, and their own share of wow sex. In more than 4 decades of counseling thousands of couples, Dr. Kevin Leman really can't remember a single couple who said, "We have a great marriage, but our sex life stinks," or "We have a sizzling sex life, but our marital relationship stinks." You can't have one without the other, not for long. Without good sex, marriage is headed for disaster and extramarital affairs. Great sex isn't easy. It takes a lifetime to get to know each other's hearts and understand each other's bodies, but it is worth it. So if you're the spouse who is reticent about having sex because of a trauma you suffered in the past, or simply because you prefer couch potato evenings, you really should start working on it. Your marriage is on the line if sex with your spouse is boring or, rather, non-existent. If you don't provide the warmth, intimacy, and sex your partner desires, he or she will be tempted to find those elsewhere. Now, you don't want that. So you've got to step it up and affair-proof your marriage. Spice up your sex life and see those little surprises and joyful anticipation of walking through life together. Keep things fresh and interesting between you and your spouse, even after many decades of being together. Sex was created by God Almighty to be something wonderful between a husband and a wife, as a way of becoming one in every possible way and solidifying a lifetime commitment. Dr. Kevin Leman. Chapter 2. It is important that every woman forms an amazing sex bond with her husband. While many don't know it, including women themselves, sex is indeed an important part of every woman. Many women go into marriage with the notion to just lie back and let him enjoy himself. This common view of sex is wrong, as it doesn't truly satisfy a man's needs. Fulfilling sex isn't about going through the motions just because it's something men need. Sex for a man who doesn't see his wife sexually fulfilled is like a woman trying to talk to her husband while he's reading the newspaper. She craves conversation, but his lack of attention doesn't satisfy her need for interaction. Sex is important to a man, and since marriage is about putting your spouse's needs before your own needs, women should be better in the way of working out an interesting sexual experience with their partners. However, it isn't only women who should put their spouses first. Men also need to put their wives first and never fall short of the 3 things every woman wants most of all: affection, communication, and commitment. To get that female slow cooker simmering, every man needs to do the following. Let your wife be a woman and show your appreciation. Listen, but don't problem solve unless she asks. Be her rock. Get active both inside and outside the bedroom. Whatever you do, don't forget to keep the romantic fire burning. Take her out to dinner. Hire her some cleaning help. Just keep being sweet. Chapter 3. Women need to know what their men need the most and work toward fulfilling those needs. Thinking about sex might seem weird to you as a woman, but it isn't bad at all if it drives that man of yours into your arms time and time again. Or if it makes him floor the accelerator of his car just so he can beat you home to set up a romantic environment he knows you'll love. It's a well-known fact that the penis is every man's favorite body part, right from the time they were young boys. In 2012, Terry Fisher and her research team discovered that the average healthy man thinks about sex 19 times in a day. Any male who is healthy psychologically has a built-in drive to go after what he wants. When you understand what men need and you figure out how you can fulfill those needs, you'll have a completely amazing man. Talk about a man who doesn't only make it a mission to satisfy you in bed, but also will help you with house chores and even make a late-night run to the store just because you're craving chocolate. It helps to know your man and get into his brain. A headway to understand your husband is knowing that men are attracted to the physical, men are born to compete, and men have a craving for adventure. The key to unlocking your man's affection, however, is understanding his top 3 needs in the following order. Want me. He needs to know that you still desire him. If you make a man feel like a king in the bedroom, there is nothing that man won't go after and accomplish. Need me. Men have a hero instinct to them. They always feel the need to please their spouse. Men naturally love to problem solve, so encourage your husband to let him help out from time to time, even if you can do it on your own. Let your husband be your go-to guy. He may not do things as you do them, but he'll definitely get the job done. When men know they're needed, they're always more than happy to step up their game. Respect me. A man craves respect. Respect for his strength, his logic, his ability to have a single-minded focus on a task. Overall respect for his maleness. Make affirming statements to your husband and let him feel like he's your number 1 priority. When you treat your husband with respect, you'll get the respect back in shiny packages of affection. Sex matters to men greatly, but what's even more important to us is watching you enjoy what we're doing to you. Dr. Kevin Leman. The following are some secrets you should know about your man to improve your sexual intimacy. He wants to be your knight in shining armor. He wants you to enter into sex enthusiastically. He wants time alone with you to share his thoughts and feelings. He wants you to read him like a book and provide what he needs, even when he doesn't know what he needs. Men naturally don't share their feelings, but a smart woman should learn how to read her husband and pull off surprises based on her knowledge of him. That way, you'll have a relieved, thankful, would knock down a wall for you husband on your hands. Chapter 4. Identify the intruders in your bedroom and reclaim your sexual space. Every married individual carries a book. The book is unique to each person and governs every aspect of sexual communication in marriages. This book is called Sexual Rulebook. The book is developed based on experiences in each person's family of origin, peers, and past relationships. While most couples are oblivious of it, this book determines sexual interaction between couples. Here are a few influences that form an expectation of yourself, others, and marriages. How your parents treated you. The kind of relationship you had with your parents has everything to do with how you expect to be treated by your spouse. If, as a child, you always had things your way, you'll naturally assume that the same techniques will apply to your marriage. The ones who get treated with respect as children always emerge as strong ones, while someone who was neglected as a child may have difficulties expressing their needs in a marriage. Someone who experienced a tumultuous relationship growing up will end up having difficulty trusting their spouse. If you want to shut off marital intimacy quickly, criticize your spouse. Your parents' parenting style. Your parents' parenting style also reflects in your marriage expectation. For instance, if you grew up with an authoritarian father, as a wife, you'll unconsciously project feelings of frustration and equality into your marriage. And if you were raised in a permissive home, you'll take it badly if at any point you didn't have your way in your marriage. The way your parents interacted with each other. How your parents interacted as male and female helped develop your perspective about how opposite genders should treat each other. If you grew up in a home where your dad ran over your mom's feelings, you, as a man, have a tendency to do the same to your wife. How your parents treated the topic of sex. How your parents interacted sexually becomes ingrained in you as the way married couples should relate. If you grew up in a home where sex was regarded as dirty or distasteful, you would be uncomfortable about the topic, and every time you engage in sex with your spouse, your parents' disapproving stares and words would flash through your mind. Identify these life themes that are influencing the level of intimacy with your spouse. Don't allow your sexual rule book to control your relationship. Kick your parents and past experiences out of your bedroom and move your marriage to a deeper level. You may think you're having sex with just your spouse, but there are more than two of you doing the mattress mambo. Dr. Kevin Leman. Did you know? The top 5 killers of healthy sex life are unresolved conflict, fatigue, hygiene, a lack of affection and romance, and a lack of caring words. Chapter 5. Always remember that the words you choose and how you fulfill them help shape your marital intimacy. You simply don't talk to men the way you talk to women. There are ways that you, as a man, can approach your wife in communication and still keep your manliness intact. And there are things you, as a woman, need to understand about communicating with your husband. It is possible to be on the same page when you understand the few basics. Men use grunts while women draft paragraphs. Men like things streamlined, predictable, and simple. Women like variety and multiple choices. Men don't dish about their private lives. Women like to share. Men use I or me. Women use we. Most couples spend most of their time having sex and little time talking about it. This is wrong. Sex is not a forbidden topic. Discuss it with your spouse openly and freely. Your likes and dislikes, where you want to have sex, what you want to do, whether you're feeling fulfilled or not. It strengthens your sexual bond and releases an air of confidence between you two. Directly ask your spouse what his or her sexual language is, be it visual, kinesthetic, auditory, or relational. This way you can speak their language and send sparks flying in your bedroom. No matter how long you've been married or how good you think communication is in your marriage, it can always be improved. Keep the following in mind. As a man, you need to understand your wife better. What she says isn't always what she means. Every woman is fussy about details. Accept it and move on. Sex is an all-day affair. It starts early in the morning with words of kindness and builds up with little actions throughout the day, every day. As a woman, learn to talk so your husband will listen. Don't nag. Tell him upfront what you want. Be direct in your feedback and leave emotion out of it. Don't make him guess. Give him the highlights. Words are powerful. They can tear relationships apart as well as build them up. When you learn what your spouse needs to hear from you and use your words to create an environment of unconditional love and acceptance, you'll create the kind of intimate conversation that will make your sex life soar. Chapter 6. Variety is the spice of every marriage and the bedroom. It is important to add zest to your marital life every now and then. Making love isn't only about aligning body parts, it's about intertwining minds and hearts. Explore and be creative. It's not the position, but what you do with the position that leads to thrilling and satisfying sex. Here are a few tips to get you on the path to getting that sizzle you and your spouse long for. Realize how backgrounds will affect you and counteract them. Sometimes your partner's perspectives don't blend with yours, but understanding each other's background and perspective, then working to meet each other's needs and making each other feel special, is what a relationship is about. If, due to your conservative background, you like the lights dimmed, by all means go for it. But every once in a while, give your spouse a feast to his eyes and let him see all of you in a negligee that has him drooling. Try different locations and times and shake up the usual pattern. If you're stuck in a boring rut, think about what you usually do. Change the usual pattern and unlock new levels to sexual fun with your partner. Vary your sexual positions and type of foreplay. Spice up your sexual experience with your partner by trying out various sexual positions. Sometimes ditch the old missionary style and heighten flirting and sexual tension with the sitting position, or dominate and tease your man's visuals by getting on top. As you experiment with different positions, you'll discover that some fit certain moods. Chapter 7. Keep up the surprises and romantic gestures. Don't stop dating your spouse. What is your excuse for not instigating romantic gestures in your marriage? Money? One mistake many people make is they think it always takes a lot of money to be romantic. It doesn't take thousands of dollars to enjoy sweet and memorable events with your partner. Below are a few many free or low-budget activities that can draw you closer to your spouse. Walking in the rain and stripping each other's wet clothes off afterward. Giving each other a foot rub and then slowly making your way up each other's bodies. Making snow angels, building snowmen, and having a snowball fight. Drinking hot chocolate and letting your warm hands wander while watching movies. Slow dancing in the living room to a wide selection of retro records with candles scattered around the room. Playing strip hide and seek. The list is endless. You and your spouse can always come up with your own unique romance on a budget list. You can also take your lovemaking to new heights by planning one sexual surprise per week. Your spouse is worth it. Here are a few things to try. Try a new scent. Tell your husband, I hid a surprise scent for you somewhere on my body. It's your job to find it. Consider a twist on giving your wife flowers. Place a single rose by the bed, but then use the others to create a scattering of rose petals under the sheets. The aroma will please her nose, and I'm sure you can think of lots of ways to caress her body with those soft, silky petals. Explore your kitchen for tantalizing possibilities. Whipped cream, chocolate sauce, maraschino cherries, maple syrup, and frosting make wonderful hors d'oeuvres in foreplay when added to just the right body parts. Licking it off with your tongue is a lot more fun than eating a sundae with a spoon. Eat food that will get your partner in the mood. Don't make the mistake of eating something he or she hates or is allergic to. Conclusion. Sex isn't about finding the G spot or the I spot or the X spot. It's about a relationship. If your sex life is suffering, the chances are you have unsettled issues between you. You should choose to give your marriage a good foundation for success by fine-tuning your marital intimacy overall. Part of that includes brainstorming ways to make sex enticing and satisfying for both of you. Over the years, I've learned that part of being a good mate is knowing the quirks of your spouse and flowing right along with them. Dr. Kevin Leman. Practice the tips in this summary, and you'll be well on your way to building the kind of love that is warm and satisfying and will last until you and your partner are both as wrinkled as raisins. Even when you're away from each other, you still have an intimate connection that drives you to text or call each other because you can't stand not to. And when you're together, neither Netflix or even your phone means anything. Right now is your time to craft your marriage into a classic car that stands the test of time. It's time to jumpstart the dead battery, revive the ailing engine, and rev up your sex life and marital intimacy to full throttle. Everything good requires some effort from all the parties involved. If you want an exciting sex life in your marriage, it is up to you to put in the work and create one. Sometimes a new sex life is all you need to be fulfilled. Try this. Understand your partner's background and his or her views on sex, and be selfless. Always be willing to evolve and make those little sacrifices to keep your home, bed, sizzling.